Feature Friday.
The freshest. Okay, this has been so requested. The one of the most incredible performances based on your recommendations that we have to watch.
Literally, it's called Rag.
Yeah, it's I think it's one of the best examples,
Of
put
Rag.
in your words, of live performing of Rag. And I think this is at the Nobel Prize concert, so the audience is not your average Rag people like costumed, right? So for everybody in this
Nobel
audience,
Peace Prize, holy
yeah,
shit.
so there is a lot of foreign ears and
Good.
this is a brand new experience. But
Awesome, like for us.
like for us, that's right. So we wouldn't be alone in this.
Good stuff.
He's an absolute legend, though.
Rahat.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's a drum kit as well.
There's a whole section of everything. Uh-huh.
Woo!
Yes.
Oh, what a show!
What a show indeed.
Ah, look at that shit. Old school drum machine.
Vintage. Look at the endings of that cuffs. How do you find those notes? Turn up. Also, let's have a moment, just to really make
Sitting
sure that
down
you
and coming
look
forward.
at he is coming forward, right? So he's sitting. Oh, sorry. So he's sitting down, literally putting all this pressure in front of his lower tummy. Obviously, the harmonium is obstructing the view there, but he is totally leaning forward. So singing from this position is putting pressure under your lower tummy muscle area, so you can't really disengage the front of your abdominal wall completely. So to find these notes in this position is already a challenging task.
We
And-
obviously know that culturally and as they're growing up, historically, this is how they learn to sing.
That's right.
So they do become accustomed to this type of technique. That's why I always say it's very interesting when we do reviews of this type of stuff. You can't utilize a singular or what would you call it, a one-dimensional form of criteria
That's right.
to critique such a technique. But it is obviously rather fucking impressive.
What I obviously it does the muscle memory here is taking over. This is his natural habitat.
It's easy for him,
It is.
obviously.
Very, very clearly.
This
But-
shouldn't be easy for the regular Joe.
But that's why I'm highlighting these differences, right? Because to me, the thought itself, it's already a challenging.
Daunting.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say, this is what I think, and this is the conversation Father and I. Father's actually present right now. He just
Hi,
arrived.
Dad.
We were discussing how do you make this, this rather complex and musically intricate progressions, and some of them may actually offer resistance for foreign ears.
Yes.
And I think that's why there's such an appeal to seeing reviews of such things. But the best way I think to introduce such things is in this manner, making it hugely musically intertwined with principles of alternative rock or alternative arrangements and much more, what would you call it, universal principles, and then mix them with the complexity of a regional take that adds the flavor and the culture and the classical influence of things in the Indian music industry.
And I think he's a prime example of this particular what is it called? Fusion of genres.
Another one is like these wonderful composers like A.R. Rahman is a
That's
great
right.
example of that. Hence why he's so critically acclaimed, not just in the Indian music industry but worldwide.
worldwide.
Same as Ustad Rahat. He sort of. It was funny because I remember years ago coming sort of across some of his videos, but never clicking on them or anything like that. But he's always been
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, and I think this is the
Because of
prime
this approach,
example.
yeah.
Yes, this is the prime example of this fusion ideas, and then you hear
Everyone
it.
can enjoy this.
You hear it in the high reverb, highly melodic singing lines. Goodness!
hunches even more. Crazy,
Yeah.
right?
But he's got a really beautiful neck anchoring, so all the space that you would not naturally try to engage in your back, that now is disengaged because you're leaning forward, it's all anchored right here and at the top of his chest. So you can see him literally growing in this
right?
area. So if you pay attention, all of this, his position kind of grows and it becomes larger from in this upper body section. So he's not holding his breath, so his breath is not holding here, but his anchoring is all up here. It allows for the larynx to be really free and free flowing. But we know in rag they don't use larynx modulation.
No, the
So-
larynx do not shift.
That's right, or it doesn't shift as often as it does in the Western technique. So this whole thing is an
Amazing.
enigma to me, right? I'm completely.
If you didn't understand the whole larynx thing, just look at his throat and it doesn't move.
It doesn't bubble
Like
up
when
and
I
down.
talk, this moves up and down, blah,
That's right.
blah. But for them, when they sing, this stays there.
It's a very fixed position.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like that.
Blah,
That's
blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah. Like it doesn't
Good.
move. That's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's again they were brought up singing this way.
Yeah.
They don't know any different.
But it translates so well, and that's one of the things. Like and there's no wonder there's such fascination with this technique.
he's
for-
also the elite prime
Right,
example of
right.
that as well. So
So
we
one of
also
the
have
best
to
at it.
take into consideration this is literally a unicorn in the industry, right?
It would be so beneficial for other singers, given, let's say if you're from the West, just naturally, I mean, that's such a large generalization. But let's
The
say
West.
perhaps you're from the UK, right? And you if you go formally, you go to the formal singing school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you will be taught in the westernized way of singing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a huge generalization, but it's very common denominator. Most techniques are basically the same, unless you go classical or you go lyrical,
Mm-hmm. Well,
which
even-
things change a little.
Even then, it's even more structurized, even more regimented, which
Right.
doesn't change. If you're training in classical singing, boy,
of
you
the West,
could,
not the Indian.
yeah, so
musical
you could be trained in the US and you can be trained in Japan and the same
principles
apply.
Yeah,
you know?
but not many people take the time to study such an adverse proposition to the techniques you've learned from the West, which would be that the virtual opposite of things would be the Indian music, the Indian classical way of singing.
Yeah, and I think Berkeley, the University of
They
California,
clocked it. It's like
they have a specific major just for classical music and music.
But they realized what happens when you get a singer and you teach them both ways. You have yourself a genius. You have that ginger fella, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Who's an absolute fucking
It's mad.
guy's Iron Man for singing.
But I also think it requires a certain different type of pedigree of natural
yeah.
inclinations, right? So yeah, this is exemplary.
But he is,
though.
I guess, the best of the best in many people's eyes, if not the number one.
That's right. So big.
Beautiful place.
I just love the big band feel to this. See that? Wow! It's so hard to keep tempo. I'm sure the audience has never experienced anything like this before.
Rather brief.
Man, what was that? He was literally singing the same note as the percussion was playing. What? How do you even find that?
Go, let it roll, let it roll,
What?
let it roll.
That's incredibly epic. Woo!
तुम्हें दिल लगी भूल जानी पड़ेगी मोहब्बत की राह
No, think of it as rubato.
कर दो
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, it was Roberto. is a different song though.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool that the percussionists are the ones that's singing too? Oh my god!
I love it.
This is quite a hard piece. This is so hard because
I love it.
it's wonderful. It's absolutely completely magical. There is there's so
How
many
good
things
that
at
those
play.
Siljan cymbals sound, bro. Holy shit.
Absolutely stunning. But the energy in the singing phrase is so rhythmically forward that you have this urge to rush into the beat, right? But they're steady on. But because of the rhythmicality of the singing phrase, they're quite at the front of the beat itself. Gives you this kind of like anticipating feeling.
I think that's why they brought in that drummer, because I think we've seen in other different environments where it's literally just like the singer and the
minor
tabla, the minor
percussionists,
percussion. What would you call the tabla players? Tablatists?
I think I don't know.
I don't know, just the tabla players. Apologies for my ignorance. Here's another thing to highlight my ignorance. Here's a question. What is the connection between the harmonium and people who decide to go to this kind of level of classical Indian singing? There's obviously a connection, obvious connection, which is always present. It's obviously it always happens as well. Like we've seen a couple of videos, like in the Coke studio kind of environment, and the singers always have a harmonium.
Not always, but there's a good majority that
close
do.
to them.
Yeah.
But sometimes, especially in India, like they play it as they sing it, which is fucking mental. Like we saw KJ Udas. I think that's how you say his name, or JK.
JK.
Right.
JK Judas.
Again, sincere apologies. We're always learning. Yeah, there's a huge connection between it. Is it simply because, given the complexity and the huge difficulties in...
provides a natural guideline.
Yeah, and when they do this, because again, there is lots of creative freedom here, but there's obviously, we do know with rag there are specific, what would you call them, specific principles you must adhere to. But you do basically, everything basically qualifies as rag. In the world, like, you know what I mean? That's that would be a classification for things. So what is the connection in the simplest terms you could perhaps explain it?
Yeah.
Because I think that may also benefit other people that may not know, like me, anything.
Yeah.
You know? But anyways, go on.
I totally agree though. Wow, what a beautiful song.
An awesome man. That's when the party begins. awesome is this?
Oh, I love that the saxo player is the director.
Oh,
Oh, go, sir. Literally.
it's fun. It's like a funk beat.
I know. The saxophone player is also the director. He was calling all the shots, right? So that's nuts.
Well, also, this is what I mean. It's like I think this is the best way to appeal to all audiences alike, and it's just such a fusion of things. And what a way to end such a performance. The last couple of minutes, I would imagine they're gonna stay pretty consistent with this type of rhythm.
Yeah, you never know.
There's gonna be a big change. Well, maybe a big break in a moment, but
So I think we're about to lead into that grand finale.
such good resolution.
Yes.
And not many people would have thought like Indian classical arrangements would fit really well with like jazz fusion. Like I never saw that shit coming.
With a funk beat in the background.
Yeah, it's really weird.
I mean,
Like this is crazy. This is what's amazing about music, and I think that's why I think you guys were so keen on this, for us to check this out. It's truly awesome. Put it just a bit back to the
Just the break.
change.
Yeah.
So look at everyone. Fucking, that's brilliant.
It's just everybody's so talented. Oh my god!
Speeding up.
Such an energy injection there.
Love to play with tempos. God. Told you it's gonna be a big break.
It's just the transitions between rhythm and rhythm are so seamless. Owen, come on!
They're all they're all masters.
Yeah.
I knew he had those two floor tones there for a reason.
I'm sorry, but I literally did not get that cue
Well, I
at
didn't
all.
see that shit coming.
I didn't. What?
He loved to play with tempos.
And he's looking at the director. Oh, he just stands up and leaves. Thank you.
It's as if he wasn't doing it for the claps. Like he's just doing it because he loves it. Like because he got invited and he loves the show.
That guy actually loves playing.
I love
I'll
doing
do it.
this. Like that's probably the happiest he is in the day when he performs.
Dude, imagine just brainstorming that medley.
And you need a director. That's
You need a
why.
musical
And here's
director.
something as well. Like
Yeah.
you can't really be young to play this because it takes a fucking lifetime to understand this stuff.
No.
Literally, none of those guys are young. They've been doing that shit for at least 20 plus years.
At least, I mean,
I sound like Darren Till.
I actually have to
Liverpool.
be honest. The idea of
That's
witnessing this
amazing.
live,
I'd pay
that
so much
audience,
money.
that audience must have been completely overwhelmed. I would have been. I think witnessing that live, that energy infusion of, I don't know, magic or
That was old water.
that was definitely not fresh water from the springs. Sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I hate to see you in pain.
What the fuck?
But yeah, if I would have witnessed that live, I would definitely be completely overwhelmed by the experience of it, because from the comfort of my house, the control of pausing and going back to it, and it allows me to really really, I don't know, assimilate a lot of what's happening. But if I had to see that live, I would definitely,
People say,
yeah.
it was like, this is illegal. Such an explosive performance in a peace concert. Nothing can be greater than this one. A true legend. My salam for him. Ustad
Sig-
Rahat Fateh Ali Khan.
No, rappers. Nobody can sing faster than us. Ustad Rahat, hold my chai.
My tea.
Hold my tea.
That's what it means,
Oh,
right?
Yeah, chai tea.
That's brilliant.
Just
Well,
like, hold it.
let us know. Let us know what you guys thought about it.
It is absolutely insane.
Obviously, one of the most thought-provoking performances, and interesting in tempos and influences and arrangements. Very, very smartly done by everyone. This is the level of music where it's like, do we have to review? You know, we can just. There's nothing to review. There's nothing to commentate on. It's just being amazed non-stop. It's really interesting. These are some of my favorite performances to watch because
such dynamics and the place and light and shade and
these are the performances I will show to my kids when I'm older.
That's right.
Look, there's a whole world out there, and there's levels to music. There's level 1, there's
Yeah.
level 2, there's level 4, and all these singers that sometimes you see, on the TVs and stuff, they're like, they're pretty very good level, but there's another level on top of that, and then there's another level on top of that, and there's also levels on top of this, and there's people that have dedicated completely their whole lives and their whole existence of beings just to singing, and that's what that looks like. So let us know your thoughts, guys, and goodbye. Hope you enjoyed it.
absolutely wonderful.